Hello, everyone. This is Carl Deershaw with Small Fish Business Coaching, and I'm glad you could join me tonight. We've got a really interesting topic this time, staying sane in your business over the holidays. We're here at the end of October. We've got a little over 60 days to go in the rest of the year, and I'm talking to a lot of people that are going just a little bit crazy right now. So I thought we'd talk about that, and maybe I can give you some interesting pointers that you can use to try to get a little bit more balance in the coming 2 months. So as we look ahead to the rest of the year here, there's a lot of things that are coming forward. We've got the holidays, Christmas and Thanksgiving, and if you got kids, then Halloween's a big deal. We've got snow coming up because, of course, I'm in Colorado, and so we've got the weather starting to set in. And yeah, I don't have to mow the lawn anymore. I just did the final time yesterday, but now not sure I'm looking forward to shoveling snow for the next few months. And then, of course, we have New Year's and family activities, all kinds of stuff. So there's a real good chance that this is driving you just a little bit frantic right now. Not to mention the fact that we have business going on. And there's a lot of dynamics in business that happen at the end of the year, depending on what kind of business you have. Uh, so let's look at a slightly longer view. Okay, so you've got your business. It has some cycles. It goes up and down. I just sort of made a generic chart here because this is typically the kind of business variation you're going to see. At various times, you're going to be feeling frantic, a little bit splintered, and nutso. And then at other times, you'll be celebrating. Yeah, we saw some business recently. Things seem to be going well. And then guess what? Next month, it's dropped off a bit, and your anxiety goes up again. So there's a lot going on here. But when you start looking at it, say, with a 2-year viewpoint like this, you're going to see some variations, but you'll probably start to see some seasonality coming up. What's interesting is that every business has its own type of seasonality. So some people are looking for a really, really booming business. So if you have a consumer retail business where people would naturally buy gifts from you, well, then this is probably going to be a very, very busy time of year. For other folks, things are going to be slowing down and you'll have a little bit of relaxation or perhaps even a lot of worry in your mind because you're thinking, wow, 2014 was not a great year, and things are getting worse. They're slowing down here at the end of the year. Are we going to survive? And will 2015 look much better? So, this is what the 2-year viewpoint might look like. But let's take maybe the 10-year viewpoint. Now, in this kind of view, you're looking at much larger things. Yeah, you're monitoring your sales and profit and things like that. But you're also making strategic moves. You're doing things that may not pay off for a year or two. You're starting up a new marketing effort. You're developing new kinds of relationships. You're thinking about profit market share, so how can I take market share away from my competitors? How can we grow the market? Things like that. But you notice that the detail that was on the previous picture isn't here so much because you're looking at the bigger moves, you're thinking more long term. So this is useful to get into every once in a while to think about what does the longer term view of my business look like? Now, let's expand this to a lifetime view. So, as you go through your lifetime, you've got all these various stages in childhood and adulthood, and you're an employee, you're a business owner, your parent, your grandparent, all these kinds of things going on. Uh, One of the things you might start to notice when we look at this kind of length of time is that it's really more the relationships that jump out at you. So the day-to-day anxieties over, oh my God, we lost that big customer, isn't that terrible? That kind of fades away into the background, and you say, who are my friends and my supporters, my family, my important relationships? That's what really starts jumping out. You know, when you're sitting there on your deathbed and breathing your last, it's much more likely that you're going to be thinking about the people you've interacted with than the number of business issues that you solved and the number of products that you sold and things like that. Yeah, I mean, it's important. I totally get that. But we don't want to lose this relationship in the long-term perspective because we're focused on, oh my God, how stressful is November and December going to be in my business, in my life, in my family, in all of these plans that we have to make, all of the actions I was going to take by the end of the year, and I haven't even started yet. So, let's keep the perspective between the short term, long term, and the super long term view. Now, there's some people that are good at looking out multiple lifetimes and thinking about the 100-year viewpoint, things like that. I'm not going to push my luck that far today. Okay. It's a great exercise to get into, and it can be very rejuvenating. But I think I've pushed my luck enough here to talk about the lifetime view. So, what's the priority? Well, depending on where you are, there may be a bunch of different things that could be a priority. So, if you're in retail, maybe your focus right now is let's make the most of this year-end opportunity. Great. No problem with that, especially if you've been in the red for all year and you think you're finally going to get in the black by the profit that you make in the coming 2 months. Fantastic. Um, or you might be at a stage where the end of the year means taking a breather, or you might be finishing things off. Like I said, have your action items that you've been working on, uh, haven't completed them yet. Maybe you haven't even started them yet. That's okay. Or perhaps you're preparing for next year. Any of those are okay, and there's probably others on the list. I just wanted to get a representative sample here for you. The question is, which one or two do you want to focus on for yourself? So if you want to focus on relationships with family, great. Make sure that that means you understand that some of these other things are going to slide a little bit. That's all right. Cut yourself a little bit of slack. This is something that will continue on after the new year. Now, if you are really worried that your business is not going to survive into 2015, great. That's an opportunity for you to say, okay, I've got 2 months left in the year. Let me focus on that, get moving, and I'm going to make the best possible end to 2014 that I possibly can. And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work, but at least I gave it a fair go. That's fine. But it means that you're not going to have the energy for doing some of the other things. So, all those little niggling action items that have been bugging you all year, well, maybe you just have to cross them off the list or push them off and say, come January or February, I'm going to go look at that list again and see what actually makes sense. The point is to realize that you have a limited amount of energy and focus, and it's not going to serve anybody to burn yourself out. So don't attempt to do everything possible in the next 2 months here. Now, let's also talk about what does this feel like? Well, depending on which approach you take, it may be different kinds of things. So if you're really focused on let's buckle, get down, do that hard work, get it done, have it done by the end of the year, fantastic. It's going to be a lot of work, but it's going to be worth it because it was some of the most valuable stuff that I've done all year. That's going to be great. Or I might want to focus on actually being with the family. So the question is, how can I really have this be a great time with my family. My kids are going to be off school for a few weeks. How fantastic. Let's take the time to really reconnect as a family, be with them. It means that the business is going to take a back burner for a few weeks. That's okay. I've made the conscious choice to do that. So I'm going to focus on the relationships. Or perhaps I'm going to focus on the learning and growing and doing interesting things. This is maybe a reboot time of the year. And so it's not going to feel like the other 10 months. It's going to feel just a little bit different. And that's great. Okay. Or maybe I'm going to cap off the new year and say, wow, how fantastic. We survived. it's been a fun year. Let's celebrate the fact that we've accomplished so many things this year. How great will that be? And so maybe it's a time of celebration, and let your employees be able to back off from the pressure for a little bit. If you can do that, how fantastic. Um, Maybe you've been feeling a little bit frazzled this year and you'd like to take this opportunity to become focused. So you say, well, I've got a little bit of a break. Business has slowed down here at the end of the year. So let me focus on 2015. What's the best possible thing that I could do for this year? Let's move into that and get energized by that. So be very future focused rather than past focused. So again, the real question is, what do you choose? That's the real question. So because there's so many ways you could go, the point is to be in making your choice and focus on that. Okay, so now that we've talked about what are the things you want to focus on and then what do you want it to feel like, well, what do you do next? Well, here's the bottom line of this whole approach. First, focus on what you choose your priorities to be. So, yeah, deadlines are beating you up. There's going to be a lot of pressure from your customers. You've got, tax deadlines looming and all this kind of stuff. But the point is that you get to choose what you want your priorities to be. And if you want to spend only 5 minutes in the next 2 months worrying about tax deadlines, great. Good on you. Go for it. That's a perfectly rational choice, perhaps. Or if you want to say, this is the time we focus on customers, customer satisfaction. Let's get those guys in here and have it be the best 2 months of the year by far. Fantastic. And we'll let some of the other stuff slide a little bit, okay? So don't feel guilty about that. Now, I understand you're feeling the priorities and the pressure, and you say, well, I can't completely get rid of this stuff. Like I can't completely ignore the tax deadlines. Okay, I understand. So the question is, what's the appropriate amount of energy to put into that? What's the appropriate amount of energy to put on focusing on the past versus focusing on the future? And then when you say, I want to focus 80% on 2014 and only 20% on 2015, great. Feel happy with that trade-off, and it means stuff won't get done. That's okay. 2015 will come whether you worry about it or not, okay? Because you're human. That's really the point of this whole thing, is to recognize that you have your limits, your employees have limits, all of your partners and associates and customers and everything, everybody has limits, and everybody is feeling a certain kind of pressure here at the end of the year because of what's going on. And then I would suggest, spend a couple minutes every week just checking in with yourself. See how things are going. So not a lot of time, but just a little bit of introspection to say, am I getting the kind of balance that I wanted? And is it working okay? It won't be fantastic, probably. It could be. We can always be optimistic, but most realistically, you're going to have to make some trade-offs, and just want to spend a few minutes checking in and saying, yeah, that's okay. And if you want to do a tweak here or there, fine. Uh, but don't beat yourself up over the things that have gone undone for all of 2014, and you're feeling the pressure of that end of year coming. It's like not everything's going to get done, and that's okay. We're all human here. So I just needed to put in a shameless plug. Thanks for sticking with me tonight. I appreciate it. This was nice and short and sweet. I intended to keep it that way because I wanted to give you back the rest of your time here this evening to go and work on the business, or maybe just go have a glass of wine and kick back and watch a little bit of brain watching TV. So anyway, I'm a small fish business coach. I work with people who are looking to take important and lasting improvements in their business. They're trying to improve things not only now, but in the long-term future as well. So I work with people on that basis. If you would like a free coaching session, by all means, contact me, give me a ring, send me an email. Let me know if you like this, and if you'd like the worksheet for the webinar. I'll be sending the worksheet to everybody here who's on the call tonight, and I'll be offering you my free coaching session. So have a great end to the year. I hope to see you at my November webinar. It's going to be interesting as well, so watch out for that in your emails. But until then, take care, have a great Halloween, have a great start to November, and I wish you a great end of the year. Thanks a bunch. See ya.